So this one's going to be a bit more of a serious one. So there's been a lot of hype and a lot of news about the recent direwolf resurrection. So the gist of it, for anybody who doesn't know, but a bioscience company called Colossal, who have famously stated that they're going to bring back the woolly mammoth and the thylacine, have claimed they've brought back the direwolf, an extinct canid that died out around about possibly up to 10,000 years ago. Probably the last of them lived in southern North America and maybe in Argentina. Now, the big claim is that the pups they have resurrected, if you like, are dire wolves. They're not. So the gist of it is that two samples of direwolf DNA that were taken from two fossils, one was an ear bone and one was a tooth, they were used and a sample was taken from each of them to reconstruct the genome of direwolves, and then using a genome from a cell of a grey wolf, Colossal edited up to, I believe it was 20 genes to replicate those genes and make them look like direwolf, basically direwolf genome. Now, based on other videos and other sources that I've seen, only 15 of those are relevant to creating a dire wolf, if you like. 5 of those gene edits were actually in reference and in relation, actually, to the white coat that these pups have. Now, you're probably thinking, well, 20, that's pretty high edit. No. 20 gene edits is minuscule compared to the millions, if not billions, of genes that you can actually see in an individual genome. So you're probably asking the question, so what actually makes these wolves not dire wolves? Well, the big thing is basically what I said at the start of the video. These pups are born from the edited genome of a grey wolf. These pups are grey wolves. They're not dire wolves. They have not been... the DNA from the two samples was not used. That's a misconception that seems to go around. They aren't a hybrid. They are basically a genetically modified grey wolf. They've been genetically modified to look like a dire wolf. That's the gist of it. They are bulked up grey wolves. And according to Perry et al. 2021, which was a monumental study in dire wolves, grey wolves aren't actually the closest living relative to a dire wolf. The jackal, the little scrappy fellas that run around Africa scavenging on lions' kills, that is the closest living relative to a dire wolf. So Colossal have used the wrong animal for this. So this is a bit strange. This situation is very strange. So these are not dire wolves. Dire wolves have not been brought back. They have not been resurrected. These are modified grey wolves. The grey wolf and the dire wolf, although it's said they share 99.5 to 99.9% DNA with each other, they're not from the same group. In fact, they seem to have split from... their ancestors seem to have split from each other about 5.7 million years ago. So by changing the DNA of a member from one branch of the family does not automatically mean that we have resurrected a member from a different family, from a different branch. It's almost like saying lions have gone extinct, so we've modified the DNA of a house cat to make it a bit bigger, a bit bulkier, and then we say we've brought back the lion. It just does not work like that, unfortunately. But these, what I'm going to call dire wolf looking grey wolves, or dire grey wolves if you like, these are absolutely, to not take this away from Colossal, it's monumental what they've done. Absolutely amazing. Monumental. Huge science. But the way it's been peddled to the general public is not accurate. These are not dire wolves. They are genetically modified grey wolves. Now, I've had discussions with people who thoroughly believe that these are dire wolves, and this is a bit discouraging and upsetting because they are not Eocyon dirus. They are Canis lupus. They are modified grey wolves. Now, the purpose of these dire grey wolves and what impact they will have in the future, it's unknown. Hopefully, I'm hoping they have a positive impact. I'm hoping that because they are bigger, broader, more robust, they're going to impact the ecologies and their ecosystems differently from the grey wolves, and they're going to introduce a positive change to issues in ecosystems, particularly North America. We'll just have to see. Time will tell. But unfortunately, guys, for basically the roundup of this, the direwolf has not been brought back from extinction. These are just modified grey wolves. The closest living relative to a direwolf is a jackal. Direwolves and grey wolves, their lineages split millions of years ago. So, for the true resurrection of the direwolf, we need a good DNA sample, and hopefully that'll come in the future. But the time is not now, unfortunately. All right, guys. I'll see you later. Ta-da. Bye.